With me, your host, Mercy Protas. We do hope that you have woken up well this wonderful, Wednesday morning. We do hope that you are, are happy and blessed and you are getting ready to start off your day. It is indeed a bright morning. It is indeed the 9th of October, 2024, and we bless the Lord for a bright new day, and we are looking forward to it. I do hope that you are also looking forward to it, and maybe you can tell us what the Lord is speaking to your heart this morning, just in case you woke up and did your quiet time and had your quiet time with the Lord. You can share with us what scripture you are standing on this morning. You can also tell us where you are tuned in from, just in case you're watching us live on Truth TV. We are coming to you live from Truth TV studios. You can send in your feedback via the number that is on your screen. But if you're watching us live on YouTube or Facebook, you can use the comment section to send in your feedback. A very good morning to you and welcome to the Morning Uplift show. Today we have a great show lined up for you. As usual, we'll be starting off with a devotional of the day, and later on we'll be giving you the inspirational video of the day. And later after that, we'll be talking about academics and particularly how to balance academics and co-curricular activities. And we'll also be having a guest in studio to help us understand that. But for now, we want to get right into our devotional of the day. And particularly today, we want to talk about righteous living. And we'll be getting to read from our main scripture of the day. As usual, we'll be reading from two particular scriptures, of different versions, just to help you understand the different variations of what the same verse is saying. So at the moment, let's get to, Proverbs chapter 29 verse 7. Let's get to Proverbs chapter 29 verse 7. I'll be reading from the King James Version as well as the Message translation. As I have said, our devotional of today, we are talking about righteous living, and this is basically the first part. We'll also be continuing with it tomorrow for our devotional of the day. But for now, let's get into the word, and this is what Proverbs chapter 29 verse 7 in the King James Version says. The righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. Quite a short proverb. Let me read it again. That is Proverbs chapter 29 verse 7 that says, the righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. Allow me to also read it in the Message translation. That is Proverbs chapter 29 verse 7. This is what it says in the Message translation. The good-hearted understand what it's like to be poor. The hard-hearted haven't the faintest idea. Allow me to read it once again. The good-hearted understand what it's like to be poor. The hard-hearted haven't the faintest idea. Also, allow me to read it in the TPT version. That is the Passion Translation version. That is Proverbs chapter 29 verse 7. This is what it says. God's righteous people will pour themselves out for the poor, but the ungodly make no attempt to understand or help the needy. Allow me to read it once again. This is what it says in the TPT version. God's righteous people will pour themselves out for the poor, but the ungodly make no attempt to understand or help the needy. And this Hebrew text implies, standing up for the legal rights of the poor. And so we want to understand, that the ungodly, in contrast to the righteous people of God, they make no attempt to understand or help the needy. And also get to understand what this text means for our devotional of the day. Just in case you are tuning in right now, we are currently reading our devotional, and today's topic or theme is righteous living, and we're doing the first part of it. And we get to see that right living is actually the fruit of having received the gift of righteousness. Let me repeat that again. Right living is actually a fruit of having received the gift of righteousness. And this is why we see that the word in the book of Proverbs 29 verse 7 says, the righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. And we're saying that right living is a fruit after you have received the gift of righteousness. However, often sometimes or oftentimes rather, right living is only considered by having good morals or through the lens of moral uprightness, sadly. And while this is actually important, this is not all. That does not mean that, just only right living is only viewed in the lens of, moral uprightness. Why? Because our theme scripture introduces to us one of the marks of righteousness living, or rather righteous living. It is in considering the cause of the poor, as we have read that the righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. And while we are saying that as much as oftentimes right living is regarded in this moral uprightness, we are saying that that is not all, because our theme scripture also introduces us to one aspect of righteous living and the marks of a righteous living person, that it is in considering the cause of the poor. And sadly, there are some Christians who receive, or rather who have received, the free gift of righteousness, but sadly they will never lift a finger to help someone struggling financially, or who is less privileged than them. As much as they have received this gift of righteousness, they sometimes or oftentimes do not even care to help the needy. And the reason that what is in their heads is that whatever they have is quite too little for them to spend it on one less fortunate. This is what they think, because they feel like they do not have quite enough to help someone else. And Job, as we see in Job chapter 29 verse 16, whom the scripture referred to as a righteous man, in Job chapter 29 verse 16, he says, I was a father to the needy, and I searched out the cause of whom I did not know. And we get to see Job, as much as he had all this wealth at the time, we also get to see one aspect of him in verse number 16 of chapter 29 of the book of Job, that he says, I was a father to the needy, and I searched out the cause of him I did not know. And as a righteous man or woman, all of us have been received, or rather we have received the gift of righteousness as a result of our salvation in Jesus Christ. And as a righteous person, people in our life should actually benefit from what God has blessed us with. And we have been also saying that, we are not blessed to just, sit around or just stay with our own blessing, but we also get to understand that, people in our life should benefit from whatever we have. And so that is what we are saying. No matter how little you think you have, bless someone with who needs it more than you actually do. Let's also get to see from the book of Proverbs chapter 21 verse 13, the same theme of what we are talking about today. It says that whoever shuts their ears to the cry of the poor will also cry out and not be answered. Oh, quite a powerful proverb. And this morning we are talking about, righteous living. And we've gotten to understand that righteous living is not just merely, from the lens or just seeing that right living is from, having a moral uprightness. It is not just about that, but we are saying righteous living is as a result. It's a fruit because you have been given the gift of, righteousness. And we get to see that, as a result of us being, giving, or rather receiving the gift of righteousness, rather, we get to understand that we need to also come to a point where we are caring for the less fortunate. We are blessing people with whatever we have. And we are saying that no matter how little we might think that we have, we are saying that is there's still something that we can bless someone with as more. And that person needs it more than we actually do. And where this world, where in this situation and these seasons where the world speaks more about money, where money speaks loudly, it is important to also have those who are advocates for the poor. And so this morning we are being told and we are being called to stand out for the poor. And you see, we also get to see the aspect, the contrast of the righteous people and the wicked people. You get to see that the wicked ones, the wicked people, they do not know of such concerns of the less fortunate or the poor people, because they see the poor as the perfect target for the abuse of power. But God makes it clear for us that the righteous are very concerned for the poor. We need to be very, very concerned for the poor. And the literal translation, rather, of the proverb begins with the statement, the righteous know. They know the cause of the poor. And this assumes also that there is a cause which the poor need help. There's that assumption. And the word used to describe these rights of the poor is also a legal word, and it was used in the world of the courts and in lawsuits, when what we have then is a situation where the legal system and the courts are not working the way they should towards the poor, and thus they need someone to come and advocate for the poor. They need someone to be concerned and to know their plight. And our proverb this morning also tells us, that the righteous is concerned about these things. The righteous person is concerned about these things. They see the injustices that happen, even with the poor. And they see, the injustices that happen in the world, and it actually bothers them. And so as a result, they want to see the justice blind to money and blind to political influence. And when this is not the case, the righteous will fight for the cause of the poor. And so we also get to see a contrast of the same of the people that are not of God. The wicked, in the other hand, they do not have this understanding. They don't have any kind of concern here. In fact, the proverb actually tells us that they don't even understand that concern. They have no clue about it. Their worldview has, them that they are the most important ones, not the other people who are less fortunate or the poor, but for them, they are the most important one. And thus, if a poor person probably comes to them, or probably even in the case where they are convicted of a crime they did not commit, or they are given a lawsuit where, that is turned against the poor, you get to see that the wicked don't understand where they fall in place, or they also don't understand why one is actually upset. They don't, have that understanding. And in the end, the wicked ones got whatever they want. Why? Because they feel and they want to, put themselves right to be as much as important. And the reason why this is actually important is because such things reveal the major differences between the righteous and the wicked. And that is why we are saying this morning, we need to be very concerned about the poor people. We not need to be, just like the wicked people who only care about themselves, who they cannot, see past their own desires and wants, to just concern himself with anyone other than themselves. And so we see also that the righteous in this particular verse, they are concerned because they are selfless and they are God's justice to prevail. They want God's justice to prevail in all aspects of life. And at the end, we see very, very clearly the contrast between the wicked and the righteous. We are being told the righteous, they are concerned about the poor, but the wicked, in this other hand, they do not understand even what the poor are going through. And so what we see in the most important sense is that we see a godly, selfless person and a lifestyle that, we see a contrast between that godly lifestyle of a righteous man, and also get to see that, selfish, wicked person, that lifestyle of that selfish, wicked person. But so, having understood this, knowing this, we now need to understand that we constantly need to support the rights of the poor. And also we need to understand that we need to be walking in the very godliness of what we are being called to do in the very, very same way. And as we wrap up this conversation, we are saying and putting an emphasis that, sometimes we may think that we have too little to even give outside to the people who are poor. But we're saying, no matter how little you think you have, but bless someone who needs it more than you actually do. And so we do hope that you have been called out to constantly, help those who are in need of the things that they don't have, those who are less fortunate, and more so the poor, because we are being told in Proverbs 29 verse 7 that the righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but sadly, in the contrast of it all, the wicked regardeth not to know it. So we do hope that you have been called out and that this devotional has also stood out for you. Right about now, we want to go for a short commercial break, but when we come back, we'll be giving you the inspirational video of the day. So see you after the break. Do not touch that dial. And greetings, dear viewer. Right here at Truth TV, we'd love to give our heartfelt gratitude to you for taking the time to watch Truth TV and being a loyal viewer right here at Truth TV. Just in case you have any feedback whatsoever, please send us your feedback using the number that is on your screen. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at Truth TV Kenya and keep it Truth TV. Once again, thank you so much. Life Celebration Center of Deliverance Church Nakuru, under the leadership of Reverend Elijah and Mary Mwangi, invite you for our Sunday services. Join us every Sunday for our Sunday services as follows. First service will be happening from 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. at the City Annex Church located at Masters Plaza, 5th floor. Join us at Life Celebration Center Deliverance Church Nakuru along Kariba Road from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. for our second service and from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. for our third service. Welcome for a time of encounter and empowerment in the Lord Jesus Christ. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and see you soon.
Truth TV, empowering you.
Hey there, welcome back to the Morning Uplift Show with me, your host, Mercy Protas. Right about now, we want to give you our inspirational video of the day. And just in case you did not catch our devotional, this morning we're talking about righteous living. But for now, we want to give you our inspirational video of the day. And today we are talking about education and particularly having an A+ student mentality. Here's the video, enjoy it.
There are key components and key ingredients in the recipe of a student mentality. Number one, you need to be disciplined. The future is very expensive, and only those who are carriers of discipline can inherit the future. I need you to stay motivated. I don't care if you have to listen to me 1,000 times. I need you to stay motivated. And I need that motivation to mature into discipline. I need you to be self-aware. So I need you to remember that you are always learning. In life, you are always learning. And I need you to believe in yourself. I need you to see yourself capable, lovable, and unconditionally worthy of your future. Turn your pain into progress. I need you to see yourself. See yourself. One of the things that many students lack is vision. You got to see yourself before you get there. You have to hear yourself telling yourself thank you. I need you to open up your ears. Open up your ears, because the you from the future is telling you thank you. Thank you for not giving up when you wanted to give up. Thank you for not being depressed. Thank you for not allowing the brokenness to eat your progress. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You got this. It's going to get hard sometimes, I'm telling you right now. It's not going to be easy, but it's worth it. Maybe you're listening to me right now and you want to lose weight, or you're trying to pass the final exam, or maybe there's just this feat that seems as though it is impossible. Turn your pain into progress. Turn your pain into progress. I need you to be uncomfortable with average. I need you to be allergic to average. I need you to come to the end of yourself. So many people are depending on you. A student is hardworking. A student is mentally tough. Have the ability to adapt. Have a character, consistency. Demonstrate courage on the daily. Stay motivated. Stay positive. Earn your respect. Have a winning attitude. Breathe, compete, make no excuses, set goals, practice great habits. Stay focused. You want your future? You gotta outwork everybody on that field. You gotta outwork everybody in the room. You gotta learn how to perform under pressure. You gotta leave it all out on the field. Everybody wants the future, but everybody wants to be average. There are gonna be times when you feel like you're losing your mind, and you study for hours, and you're gonna take an exam, and you will not pass. A student is resilient. A student is disciplined. A student is committed. A student is consistent, even when they don't want to be. Because the cycle of depression needs to end with you. The cycle of not enough needs to end with you. The lack and the dysfunction and the anxiety and all of these things that your family and your father and your mother have gone through. You have to keep a student mentality. I studied and I failed the exam. I studied and I failed the test. And life is an uphill war, and it is filled with tests and exams and critical moments where you are going to have to dig deep inside of yourself and ask yourself why. Why did you start in the first place? And what was the emotion, the feeling? What was the science and the psychology behind the decision that you made? And 9 times out of 10, I can tell you why you started. You started because you were hungry. Hunger is the feeling of discomfort or weakness caused by a lack of food coupled with a desire to eat. How hungry are you? When you feel like throwing in the towel, when you feel like surrendering everything you worked for, remember why you started. Remember how you felt when you started. You were hungry. When you want to let go, when you want to surrender, when you want to stop, when you're ready to quit, when you have failed and failed again. Let me remind you what got you here. Hunger got you here. A strong desire got you here. You were desperate to break curses in your family. You were desperate to break the cycle of poverty and depression. You were desperate. Hunger got you here. Remember this. Every dream requires discipline. Every dream requires discipline. You can travel the world and study students and their behaviors and their mindsets. There is a science behind achievement. And when you study the most successful students in the world, we find that they are responsible, they are motivated, they are self-managed, they are self-aware. They have a long-lasting student mentality even after they have passed the test. Because they understand that life is a test. And in life, there are ups and there are downs. And so accept the responsibility. See yourself as primarily responsible for your outcomes and your experiences. You are going to need discipline. Motivation will help you get started. But discipline is going to keep you on the road to your destiny. You got to be self-motivated. You got to find purpose in what you do by discovering personally meaningful goals and dreams. If you're going to be a successful student, if you're going to come out on top, you've got to start managing your time. You plan and you take action in pursuit of your goals and dreams. So let me tell you something. Everybody has a dream, but there is a behavior that must follow your belief system. Remember this, behavior follows belief. If you have not been able to change your behavior to match your dream, then you need to go back and examine your belief. Because 10 times out of 10, if you can't change your behavior to match your dream, then you don't believe. When somebody believes, everything changes. The time is coming where you are going to feel like giving up. But you're going to have to remember why you started. You got to dig deep and learn how to create possibilities for yourself When nobody gives you an opportunity, you have to turn your mess into your message.
What a video. We do hope that you have been inspired to also become an A+ student when it comes to, having that type of mentality when it comes to the schoolwork. Also, when it comes to, balancing academics, it is quite important to have that mindset, especially in terms of schoolwork. But right about now, I want to go for a short commercial break. But when we come back, we'll be talking about all things education. And today for our segment, we'll be talking about balancing education and co-curricular activities with our guest in studio. So we cannot wait to start that conversation. Just in case you have questions on the same, please do send it via the chat box that is either on YouTube or Facebook, but you can also send your feedback via the number that is on your screen if you're watching us live on Truth TV. But for now, let's take a short commercial break and see you after the break. Life Celebration Center of Deliverance Church Nakuru, under the leadership of Reverend Elijah and Mary Mwangi, invite you for our Sunday services. Join us every Sunday for our Sunday services as follows. First service will be happening from 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. at the City Annex Church located at Masters Plaza, 5th floor. Join us at Life Celebration Center Deliverance Church Nakuru along Kariba Road from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. for our second service and from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. for our third service. Welcome for a time of encounter and empowerment in the Lord Jesus Christ. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and see you soon. Hello there and greetings, dear viewer. Right here at Truth TV, we'd love to give our heartfelt gratitude to you for taking the time to watch Truth TV and being a loyal viewer right here at Truth TV. Just in case you have any feedback whatsoever, please send us your feedback using the number that is on your screen. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at Truth TV Kenya and keep it Truth TV. Once again, thank you so much. Welcome to Annie Planet, where the wonders of the animal kingdom come to life. Join us on a thrilling adventure as we explore the untamed beauty of nature and witness the extraordinary lives of creatures big and small. From the mighty jungles to the vast oceans, Annie Planet takes you on a journey beyond imagination. Get ready to embark on a wild ride filled with captivating stories, stunning visuals, and fascinating facts about our planet's incredible inhabitants. Annie Planet, where every creature has a tale. Don't miss out on the adventure. Every Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. only on Truth TV. Hey there, welcome back to the Morning Uplift show with me, your host, Mercy Protas. Today we are talking about all things education, and for this segment we'll be talking about balancing education and co-curricular activities, or rather balancing academic activities, or rather academics and co-curricular activities. Pardon me for that. And right here in studio we have teacher Cynthia. Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Looking good.
Thank you.
So you can first start off by you introducing yourself to our audience. That is your camera.
Okay. My name is teacher Cynthia Atieno, a teacher from King's Academy.
Okay, karibu sana. So today morning we're talking about balancing academics and co-curricular activities, yeah? So what exactly are co-curricular activities? Maybe you can start there and helping us to understand what exactly are co-curricular activities.
Okay, to begin with, co-curriculum activities are the activities that are partaken outside the staff room and outside the realm of the normal curriculum.
Okay, so basically outside class?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to, co-curricular activities, why are they so important? And maybe you can also give us examples of co-curricular activities.
Okay, thank you. As far as co-curriculum activities are concerned, we bear in mind with the CBC, that is competence-based curriculum, whereby a learner is urged to do what he or she can perform best in.
Yeah.
And so now, when it comes to school environment or outside classroom, co-curriculum activities, it's the activities that they take maybe in the field.
Yeah.
They go there, they play football. It can be maybe skating, it can be swimming. That is still a co-curriculum activity.
Okay, but it doesn't just base for the CBC students, it goes across.
Yeah, it goes across.
Yeah. Why are they so important, especially when it comes to academics?
Yeah, co-curriculum activities are very, very important because we all know that we cannot learn from Monday to Monday. This particular learner needs time to rest.
Right.
So for this learner to at least maybe remember everything that he or she has been taught in class, he or she needs to involve himself or herself in these activities that refreshen his or her mind.
Yeah. So assume a student has not come into school and they have found quite a lot of activities based on co-curricular activities within school, and now they are quite startled at what exactly to choose. So what strategies would you recommend for a student who also wants to ensure that they are performing academically, but also ensuring that they are also participating in these co-curricular activities, and that in the long term they're also benefiting from it?
Okay, thank you. As we all know, co-curriculum is important as well as academics. And you'll find out that there are some learners that are doing so much extremely good in academics as opposed to co-curriculum.
Yeah.
And you'll find out that some learners are doing extra fine in co-curriculum as opposed to academics.
Yeah.
It is upon the teachers together with the parents to encourage these learners, because we all know that at the bottom line that education is very, very important. So it is upon us teachers to encourage this particular learner that to make sure that he or she does whatever he knows best, because at the end of the day, CBC is about the learner and not the parent or the teacher, because so that we do not find out that maybe you have forced your child to do well in academics and he or she can perform better in co-curriculum, or maybe she wants to become maybe a fashion designer, maybe a boy wants to become a footballer. So you are also supposed to listen to this child and maybe direct him or her based on what she or him does well.
Okay, just for clarity purposes, when it comes to CBC, are they graded? Are they the different activities the learners get to have?
Yes, they are graded, and that is why if they perform or maybe they involve themselves in a particular co-curriculum activities, they are awarded certificates to show us that it is as well a very important activity.
Yeah, and I agree that's quite important because it helps the child, just ensure that their extra talents
Yeah, sure.
zimekuzwa vizuri.
Yeah, then their talents are also taken care of.
Right.
Because you will even find out that maybe when you go out for recreational activities such as swimming, you will find out that there is a certain learner who knows how to swim best. Maybe when you compare this learner with another one who does best in classroom.
Yeah. Awesome. So you mentioned that it's very key when it comes to students, or rather parents and teachers, making sure that they help the learner, making sure that they have a balance when it comes to their studies and also these activities outside class. But let's come to the point of the students. What can they actually do to make sure that at a personal level, they are not, more so relying on or doing so good when it comes to co-curricular activities, but also in academics, they are not fairly doing well. But also in the same way, maybe there's some who are doing perfectly well in terms of academics, but in co-curricular kidogo, they are lagging behind.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, this is a call upon the parents and the teachers. Now, when it comes to academics, the teachers are required, maybe with an aid of the teachers, the learners are supposed to have a clear schedule of how they will be reading. Maybe, for example, they're supposed to distinguish between what is important at that time or at that season. We have said that co-curriculum is also important, but now when it comes to academic, we as teachers, we need the parents to encourage these learners. Maybe if they come home, there should be that communication between teachers and parents, because the parents can only know or gauge how their learners are performing by maybe communicating with the teachers back in school. So that will help them. Maybe if they have some homework at home, you avoid the things that will distract these learners, to divert their attention from maybe studying to whatever the parents are doing. Some of these distractions might be televisions, maybe their phones, that are on social media 24/7. They must have time whereby they will be able to focus on the academics. Ensure that the learner has done his or her homework. Then you just do a follow-up with the teacher.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So when it comes to impact of co-curricular activities on academics, how do you think participation in these co-curricular activities impacts the learner's education?
Yeah, and we have said that co-curriculum activities are very, very important. Remember, the bottom line now is CBC. CBC, this learner is supposed, she or he is not supposed to be forced to do what he cannot do best. For example, in our days, the 844 system was academic oriented.
Yeah.
But now in CBC, we want to gauge this learner according to according to his abilities, what he can do best and do it perfectly. So I think by enabling this learner to partake the co-curriculum activities, we will be helping this learner a lot, because there is no need of maybe following this learner up and down. Maybe, for instance, we can take a subject like mathematics.
Right.
Yes. You want to make sure that this learner scores maybe an exceeding expectation in mathematics, yet he or she can do so well in creative arts. creative arts is more of co-curriculum activities because its content is in line with that. So you will allow this learner to study this particular subject, even agriculture, to study and make sure that the end result is what you desire the particular learner to produce.
So you've mentioned a lot, especially when it comes to teachers helping them, but also particularly there are some teachers who probably will watch this or are watching this right now, and we want to help them understand how exactly can I help my student or this learner in class to make sure that, you know, they are benefiting also from extracurricular activities, both outside class and probably also in class.
Yes, as we had talked about the schedule, you're supposed to have a timetable. Right now, in all schools, they have school routine. They know at what time what are we supposed to be doing. So you might find out that maybe there are some learners that do not like to take part in extracurriculum activity.
Right.
But now with an aid of this schedule, it will force them to take part in that extra curriculum activities. If we have said maybe, for instance, on Friday we will be going for games, no learner is supposed to remain in class. As far as even academics is concerned, I think extra curriculum activities are concerned also, because now this learner should have a break. It's not just a matter of reading every time.
Yeah.
Yes, but they need a break, maybe to go and associate with others, and that's why you will find out that sometimes they are always inter schools. They go, they play together, they socialize, they share ideas, and I think that is quite impressive for their well.
Awesome. And so I think normally we tend to have this kind of students who have this mentality of, the more I stay in class, the more I look serious, and probably the more I look like I'm really working hard towards, achieving my academic goals. Let's come to the point where, teachers can have one-on-ones with students. How can they convince them or help them understand that we are having these co-curricular activities because we are aiming to help you, so that it is not also coming from a point where I am forcing us a learner simply because it's scheduled on the timetable that this is time for games, for example, or maybe something else based on the co-curricular activities.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And we talked, still I'll just go back to CBC. The bottom line is CBC. These learners, they are not supposed to force. We are not supposed to force them to do a particular activity. But as well, we can even encourage them by giving them maybe the role models, people who have succeeded maybe through extracurriculum activities. And we know them, those people that have made their life like a star just because of not academics. So we are supposed to tell them how important extracurriculum activities are. Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to setting goals, do you think it's also possible for us to set goals when it comes to students having co-curricular activities? And how important is it for students to also set these very same goals? As much as it's very probable, there's a higher possibility that they have also set goals in terms of their academic matters. So is it also important, or can they first of all, can they set these goals in terms of extracurricular activities outside class, or maybe not, or is it important as well?
Yeah, it is very, very important to set goals because these learners, remember, there are some learners that find themselves in a situation that they are in a dilemma. They don't know whether to choose academics or to choose co-curriculum activities, because you might find out not all learners that do well in academic will fail in extracurriculum activities. Some just do marvelously in both. So it's upon the parent and the teachers to work hand in hand to make sure that they give this particular learner a very good advice that will favor her.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it is the learner who is going to do this, not us.
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to, you've said that there are people who, I think they have made a career out of extracurricular activities and they're actually earning. So when it comes to, student involvement in co-curricular activities, what ways do you also think that these activities help them in, developing other different skills?
These activities are very, very important, and they help our learners to develop different skills. Once we allow them to partake or to be partakers of these activities, I'm pretty sure that something good will come out of it. And it is always good to allow a learner just to show you what he or she can do best. Because you see, sometimes as teachers, we might not consider this learner who is not that good academically. But when we go to the field, this learner will prove us wrong. And now that CBC is concerned, we are also concerned about the extracurricular activities. That is where we will identify who is who. So there are as well, both of these activities are very, very important. And I have said it is not the time of the 8-4 system, whereby it was academics oriented or performance oriented. In extracurricular activities, it is also performance oriented.
Awesome. Let's come to communication with parents, especially when it comes to their children. How can parents ensure that they are supporting their children, especially in balancing these two things, academics and co-curricular activities?
Thank you. So the parents are urged, together with the teachers, the liars, so that they can support these learners. When it comes to academics, when the learners go home, maybe in the evening, it is upon the parent to follow up the progress of the learner, the academic progress of the learner through the teacher. Because there will be no communication between the two if they don't communicate to each other. They must, so that a teacher is able to maybe point out some of the challenges that he or she has seen the learner is maybe experiencing concerning academics. And that will be so good for the parent side, because they will be able to help this particular learner. So when the learners have gone home, the parents are urged to give these learners time, maybe to check whether they have done their homework, give them time to do the homework, remove these activities that might distract the learner from maybe concentrating.
Okay. So normally we tend to have these students, especially I think I've seen it for the Form 4s or Class 8s. It gets to a point where they are really, really working hard towards their end of year examinations or their national examinations. And it comes to a point where they now start experiencing burnout. So how do they, what signs should they now start seeing that, I think I'm having burnout, and, what ways could they also address it? Also now in line with what you're talking about today, about extracurricular activities.
So I think here the parents and the teachers should help the students or the learners, because there is always that anxiety. Suppose let's say for instance, a learner loves both academics and co-curriculum activity. They're supposed to be advised right, bearing in mind that at the end of the day, what the learner considered best is what is supposed to be followed, whereby you cannot maybe force a learner. This learner maybe is not that good in a particular subject, but the exam is there, and that is why we are saying that we have to check which one should come first. Is it co-curriculum activities or is it academics? So maybe in the event whereby the grade 8 or the grade 6 now that they are yet about to do the CAPSA exams, I think they have that anxiety, or maybe they are supposed to choose what is really necessary, what is important as at now, because right now they are at that verge of they are preparing to sit for their exams. So as a teacher, you are supposed to advise this learner that as far as co-curriculum is concerned, but this exam we are just about to do it, let us focus and concentrate, do revision, thorough revision for the so that you can get a good result. At the end of the day, we also have to know that academics matters. Even if you are so much good in co-curriculum activities, but academics will take you places.
Yeah. Okay. So let's come to enlightening, or rather those days we have remote learning, especially like during COVID time, where we now had to get to embrace remote learning, online learning, and just use technology. So when it comes to these particular situations, how can we incorporate these different co-curricular activities that we are also ensuring that as much as we are learning online or we're doing remote learning, we're also balancing the two? Yeah.
Thank you. So, like for example, during COVID, during that time, people were doing remote learning or what we call online learning.
Yeah.
So these learners, they were required to have their laptops, their tablets or their iPad. For example, there are these instructors that come on board and maybe show them what to do. Maybe they are doing something like maybe swimming.
Okay.
Yes. This instructor will highlight some of the procedures that are needed and explaining, and I think by so doing the learners will be able to understand, and maybe when they get a chance they put them into practice.
Okay, so let's, as we wrap up this conversation, let's come to the different collaborative solutions. But I know you've talked about them, but maybe you can still highlight them once again. Now let's come to how parents, teachers, and students, how they can collaborate together to create this supportive environment where the student is ensuring that they're ensuring the student is balanced in terms of their activities in academics and now the extracurricular activities. How do we ensure the three now collaborate together to ensure they support this environment?
Okay, thank you. The parents and the teachers, they really play a vital role on this. The parents, on the other hand, are supposed to encourage their learners. We are not supposed to compare our learners with others, but we just encourage them, tell them that they can do better than this. Now that is when it comes to academics. Maybe you can go through your child's work, maybe the exams. Maybe if they've just recently done an exam, you go through those papers, you help this learner to show him or her that he or she can do better than that.
Yeah.
And you can also call the teachers. Like, just have a conversation with the teachers, know how your child is doing, what are some of the challenges this child is having. Because sometimes you will find out that the learner might not do well in class, maybe because of some of the challenges she or he is experiencing back at home. So it is upon us parents to take care of our children, as well as teachers here in school. We are supposed also to take care of our learners. Call this learner, ask him or her. She might be having a problem that is eating her from inside, that is bothering her. And when maybe you can talk to the guardian or the parents, you will end up getting the solution to help this particular learner. We are supposed to support them fully, even in co-curriculum activities. We avoid the scenario whereby some parents are telling their children that you only know how to play football, but when it comes to academics, there is nothing you are getting. I think that is quite unfair for that learner. You are supposed to encourage this learner. Now that as far as co-curriculum are concerned, the CBC is also there with us. You are supposed to allow this learner do, if it is that extra co-curriculum activities, give him a chance, but at the same time do not just let this learner do one particular activities forgetting about the rest, because the performance might differ in a wide range.
Okay. Awesome. Allow me to read some of the comments that have come in right about now. Good morning. Very great insights from Madam Cynthia, and she's so beautiful. She inspires many people. Thank you so much for that. Branby says, big ups, teacher Cynthia. We celebrate and love you as a teacher. Indeed, teacher and parent participation in a child's education is key. Fatma says, I love watching the morning uplift. It's always very motivating and very inspiring. It always helps us with our day-to-day life. Thank you so much, Fatma. And also, as we wrap up the conversation, there's a question that has also come in from our viewer that says, what methods do you use to assess student understanding on balancing academics and co-curricular activities?
Okay, thank you. The methods that you can use to rate or to gauge our learners when it comes to performance and co-curriculum activities, we have talked about being given certificates. That is when they go out for extracurriculum activities. Maybe they have gone for skating. You will find out that only those that have performed so well will be given this certificate. And the same is seen in academics. We rate them. We have exceeding expectation, those that have met expectations, and those that are approaching expectations, and the ones that are below expectations. I think that is how we rate them. When it comes to academics, that is what we do. And when it comes to curriculum activities, they're being awarded certificate for those that have done.
Okay,
well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for being here today and also sharing with us your insights. And thank you to you, our viewer, for sticking with us to this point of the show. We have just concluded our conversation of the day, and we're talking about balancing academics and co-curricular activities, and teacher Cynthia was taking us through that. Tomorrow we meet right here from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for the Morning Uplift show. Please do share this link to someone who needs to hear it. Let's become a blessing to our friends and the people around us. But for now, we wish to bid you goodbye and have an amazing day ahead. Kwaheri, and may the Lord bless you.